Now, the rest of the story.
Welcome back. I'll be the first to admit that progress on this planter is slow but steady, but at least we're getting somewhere with it. Just on what I'm doing alone, I'm finally down to 1, and the planter hasn't been getting 100% of my attention since we started this, as in I haven't actually worked a full day on this thing yet. But like today, it's going on 7 o'clock at night, and I didn't start on this thing until 3. But once again, the 360 waves, I'm liking them more and more the closer I am to being done. I hope that doesn't have anything to say about, you know, what it takes to put them on. It's really not that bad. A lot of it is, it's just time consuming. But my first row that I did, which everybody's going to say that, where you're doing a project like this, where you have 12 rows to do exactly the same way. The only thing that isn't the same or hasn't been the same is the amount of shims I have to put in between the seed disc openers. I've had put varying amounts of shims in to make sure I'm getting my measurements correct. And when I started the first row, that took me probably, I'll be generous and say, probably a little over an hour and a half. I got clear down. I'm on just finished row 11. So we're down to the last row. It's got to be done here, which I did this kind of on purpose so I can kind of, you guys can see the differences between the 2 rows. But I did that one and right at 45 minutes. And that is literally without stopping, no interruptions, and just kind of picking away at it. See, the thing is, you find the shortcuts and whatnot to really speed through it, because I'm switching between the ratchet, the long arm, strong arm, the impact, 2 different sockets, and I actually am using the electric drill to take off the Keaton, or their precision planning. These are actually what holds on the seed firmers. I've been going through up until the last 2 or 3 and being careful to keep all the screws and whatnot, which I still am collecting all the screws, but I don't want a bunch of hardware sitting in the machine shed. I gotta go through and clean up my work area. But if, forbid, I have to go through and put these back on, I'll put new ones on. These are actually chewed up to the point between dirt and rocks, and looks like things getting in around the seed discs and cutting into them. I can't go through and put these used ones back on. I won't do it. So they aren't super bad, but they're significantly less than what it would be to put the waves back on. But I'm putting quite a bit of stock in the intentions that I'm going to go through and keep the waves. Compared to the old firmer, you have this guy that hangs down, which is a big point of, well, concern whenever I'm running between fields, because these outside 3 rows in this planter are sticking straight ahead. So what happens is these are actually pointing forward. So what happens when these stick straight down? They go all the way ahead, and then they catch in that seed disc opener and tears them up. I don't think any one of those, well, from hitting rocks and whatnot too, but all of them have some form of damage on them. There's no way I would be okay putting those back on. The 360 wave is spring protected, and as you can see, it does have a little seed firmer there of its own. But the perk of that is it doesn't hang down quite as much. It's not nearly as noticeable and not going to catch on near as much. It's actually higher than the closing wheels and the gauge wheels. So I got to go through, I got to tighten down these hoses yet on all of them. Got to cut these to length after I route them, which the old ones kind of went up through here, kind of back out of everybody's way, and we already got a bunch of real estate cleaned up because Dad and Ryan have gone through and done all the roller chains across the planter, and then they've also taken off the old row cleaners, And that is going to be probably the next big project. That is going to be the next big project that has to the planter. There's a lot of odds and ends I'm going to still work on between going through and changing out all of the corn meters for the bean cups, so that way I know we're putting beans in first. That's just one of the management decisions we've made over the years. We always waited to plant corn first because, you know, you got to get corn in the ground. Well, it turns out after doing beans for X, Y, Z number of years, beans will take a lot more of abuse. As a matter of fact, it seems like they ask for it. And if the ground, where I've come to the conclusion, where the ground is kind of, as a farmer, you're going, you know what, I could run. I'm not really sure if I should. Plant your beans every single time, because the beans will take the abuse, they'll take the cold, and I haven't seen a yield drag on it yet. I mean, low population, even some low population isn't going to hurt you, but like low population will hurt you, where I had like 38,000 seeds per acre of soybeans. Yeah, that does affect your yield, but being able to go out and get your beans done, so by the time you're done with your beans, if that takes you a couple days to a few days to a week or two, everybody's different, that's fine. For us, beans are going to take about a week, just logistics wise and the number of beans that we're putting in. But that's also why I have the seed box extensions. I didn't get those for corn. I got those extensions for the beans, because planting at the rates that we do, anywhere from 140,000 down to 110,000 on the low end, allows you to cover more acres without having to stop and go through and refill. So that do help on corn, don't get me wrong, but I can already only do 40 acres of fill, give or take, with the liquids. So I really wasn't looking for more seed capacity in the corn. So it's about 40 acres worth of corn, and well, it varies in the beans, so we're not going to sit and debate that. Go through, finish plumbing that up. I got to take all of these apart because I got dirt that likes to this is actually supposed to be spring loaded, that little button is, and some of these are actually full of dirt, so I got to get those cleaned up and grease 46, the 76, the 82, the skid steer, the 40/20. Basically, if it has a grease zerk on it, it has to be greased yet. Nothing's been greased yet for this year. Airbags are staying for the year, or for this season, whatever, and then they'll be coming off in the summer. And a lot of this stuff up front here, hoses are good, but it's the electrical wires. From what I understand, all of those are coming off. I mean, we still have a bunch of the wires from the previous harness for the deer. That's all coming off, and the planter will be looking quite different, which I'm looking forward to it. I still got these are actually all the bags I've been keeping, so I gotta go through and take out all of the old orifices that it came with. I put ours in that we've already had in, and they are a different number, so I'm just going to keep them so I have them on hand. As far as the closing wheels, nothing's going to be changing there. Ryan did make that note again, though. Everybody seems to hate rubber closing wheels. I don't know anybody that would like willingly run rubber closing wheels. I hate them, because with these, especially on these bigger planters, maybe if you're running like a 6-row or a 4-row, where your turns, you're not torquing the end rows as much. But on this guy, the outside 3 rows, when I was running the rubber closing wheels, I could not adjust them enough times in a day to where they would stay centered on the row. It seems like on your outside rows, you'd torque it just right, or on a turn, which is exactly what happens. And so if I'm going to the left, all your wheels are getting pulled to the left, and then they aren't centered, and then you have seed trench closing issues, and that wave is technically supposed to help with that. So the closing wheels aren't your primary seed trench closing option, but the closing wheels still are expected to close 3/4 of the seed trench. So that's where I'm at with the planter. I have Relina tomorrow, so that's kind of why I'm here as late as I was, because I kind of want to get these rows done so I can start focusing on some of the other stuff around here. Baler isn't here yet. Let's see, 82 done. Got to clean up all my stuff, and then I want to go through our baler yet if I have the time, but we have not checked fences yet because it's cold out. They're calling for a chance of snow tonight, and then like the next few days in the 40s, potentially 30s, and they're really not calling for much nice weather for I think a week yet. So trying to get some of this stuff done in the shed, because when it does get nice out, I want to start doing some stuff outside. So with that, thanks for tuning in, guys. Take care, take it easy, keep in touch, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe.